Hi everyone, Nick Redicos of Nick's Seasonal Decor here. Just give me 1 second while I pull up the feed. That way I can read your comments as you guys comment down below. Okay, awesome. So what we're going to create today is one of the first designs that I started to create. Reason being, I didn't have much money. I didn't really want to invest in expensive florals. You guys have known florals have been my hobby and my passion for as long as I really can remember. But you know, when you start purchasing from, retail stores or online, it can add up quite quickly. So one of the first things that I started to use were these pieces of deco mesh from Hobby Lobby. These are 5.5 inches wide. And I also went to the dollar store and picked up a 14-inch ring. These were $1, of course. So this is one of the first wreaths that I started to create and start to sell. And, they're very, very pretty, very quick to make, very inexpensive. And people have sent me over the last couple of years pictures of them doing it in lieu of paint night or other nights like that where they all get together and design wreaths like this. So this one's going to have a slight twist on it. We're not going to be using deco mesh tubing, partly because it's stored away and I don't feel like moving all of my stuff to get the deco mesh tubing. But instead of that, and instead of ribbon, we're going to be using some florals today. They are a little off color, but that's the beauty of this design, is that it's so simple and you could throw a bunch of colors together and just have some decorations for your home. Hi, Regina. Hi, Dawn. Awesome. Alright, so we're going to use some pipe cleaners. I was looking high and low for white pipe cleaners. Couldn't find them, but since we're adding florals today, we can get away with using the green pipe cleaners because the greenery from the flowers will kind of mask it. And of course, we are going to remove them as we finish. But what we're doing first, each one of these dollar store rings, like I talked about in the last video we did, has 6 rings. So 6 sections, I mean. And there's 4 wires on each ring. So the inner 2 rings around each of the 6 sections, I put 1 pipe cleaner. And I make sure I twist it around both of those rings. And as you can see, it doesn't really move. If you twist it around one ring, the likelihood of it staying exactly where it is pretty much slim to none. So I always encourage you to wrap it around 2 rings. It provides some tension. So I promised you guys I will be live a lot more often than I have in the past. Things were busy and hectic, but as things start to slow down now, I'll be live at least a couple times a week. So for those of you guys that were with me from the start, I appreciate it, and I hope you guys enjoy the videos that are to come. So creating a work wreath is inexpensive. It is a little time consuming if you have to produce a lot of wreaths, which is why I kind of like to purchase mine now. But for $1 and then some pipe cleaners that you may have lying around your house, you really can't beat that. The odds of you ever finding a work wreath that's $1 to $1.25, it's just not there. The prices usually run about $4 to $5. So we placed one in each of the 6 sections in the inner 2 rings. Now we're going to do the same thing on the outer 2 rings. However, we're going to place one on either side of the one we placed on the inside, kind of creating a triangle. So on either side of that, we're placing 2. Hi from Vegas. So as many of you guys know, I'm turning 21 this year, which is kind of crazy. And my goal was to go to Vegas, but 2 days after I turned 21, we're actually heading to Wreath Makers Live, the convention in New Orleans. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I know, I've missed you guys too. Oh, I forgot to cut that tag. Usually I leave my tags on for the exclusive wreath community because I like to give them links to the products that we use, and I always lose these tags, which is why I save them. But we're not going to need that for tonight. Okay, 3 more to go. So for those of you guys that are watching right now, if you don't mind taking a second and sharing this video, I greatly appreciate it. It would be awesome if we could reach 1,000 viewers tonight. Okay. You make it seem so simple. So I want you to actually genuinely believe that it is simple, because it truly is. You know, there's not too much into this. And if you're nervous about starting, like I said, this is one of my most inexpensive designs. We're using florals that came from Michael's. These were only $1 a spray. They're 50% off right now. $1 to $2 a spray, depending on which flowers we're using. So, you know, you could use less than $10 in a design like this. So if you're nervous about trying it, or if you think it's overly complicated, just invest the $8 or $9. And if you don't like it, what's nice about designing like this, especially with your own work wreath, is you can take it apart and try it again. Okay, so now it's time to cut our mesh. I haven't made one of these. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I haven't made one of these little deco mesh wreaths in a very long time. I think the last time I made them was with my sister when she was selling them, and I think she's going to do that again this spring. She is graduating this year, so I think maybe we'll do that again. But again, 5.5 inches. They carry these in all sorts of colors. Wait every other week because Hobby Lobby puts them 50% off. They carry these year-round in the floral aisle, which is right next to the wedding aisle. So this is not the premium, so this was only $3 a roll. And since we're adding florals, we don't have to worry too much about it not being premium because we're not really going to see it all that much. Okay, so we're going to cut these anywhere from 6 to 8 inches. We're not going to go too crazy because we do have 2 rolls, and if we're going to be honest, I truly don't remember how much it took from back when we used to make them all the time. So these are what we're going to do with them. We're going to turn them into curls for those of you that can't stay to watch after we cut all of our mesh. But there's 18 twist ties on the wreath, and we need 3 pieces per twist tie. So about 54 pieces. But typically, I have things cut ahead of time, or if we're doing something like this, I do a little prep work. But I haven't talked to you guys in a very long time. So for those of you that kind of want to just get to the video, I'm sorry. I just thought we would do kind of a catch-up tonight. And for those of you that don't want to sit here and watch us cut all the mesh, the replay will be posted. So if you post this to your timeline, or share this with yourself, you can go back and fast forward and rewind. So we'll not cut too much at a time because it will kind of cover the table. So I'll cut a couple more pieces, add them, and do it in little sections. Alright, before we get swallowed whole by all of these pieces of mesh, we'll begin adding them. So again, we're going to do the curl technique. This just feels weird, you guys. I haven't done this in such a long time. And we'll place 3 together. Hi, Laura. So 3 together like that, side by side, squished like an ice cream sandwich. And then we'll place 1 set of 3 in each of the twist ties. So I'm not really too worried about making these perfect. We're not adding ribbon or deco mesh tubing. We are going to cover most of this mesh with some cheap florals. Hi, Tammy. So give me a thumbs up right now if you guys have ever made a deco mesh wreath or something similar in this style. I know a lot of you guys used to watch my home talk videos, and this was quite popular, this design. We did them for every season, pretty much every holiday as well. Over 900, awesome. Wow, a lot of you guys have made a wreath like this. Hi from Houston, Texas. Welcome. I see a lot of familiar faces as well as some new faces. So if this is your first time watching me, welcome. Thank you. So a very, very simple design. So this is how it's turning out so far. This wreath would be great for spring, for Mother's Day, just the base with the pink, for breast cancer awareness, for Easter, Valentine's Day. So as you can see, I'm not even really looking at my board. I'm just cutting between 6 to 8 inches. I actually learned it from you. Thank you. Awesome. You're welcome. So a very, very simple beginner wreath. I wouldn't by any means classify this as, elegant. I would call it cute. It's not a high quality, expensive design. But sometimes people like to just have inexpensive designs. I know people have held classes at elderly homes and created these, and they all put them on their doors. They've sent me pictures of that, which I think is just really cute. So we're almost a third there. Seriously, fast forward to the next step. We get it. Alright, so let me fast forward right now. Which I think he means, or she means, work extra fast, but I think we're just going to take our sweet time tonight. Catch up with some of our awesome... Hi from Ottawa, Canada. Hi, welcome. How many rolls will you need per wreath? So it depends on how big you cut them. I say anywhere from 6 to 8 inches. If you're not adding any florals to it, you can cut them a little bit longer to compensate for the transparency. It's a little bit thin. So about $5, $6 for the mesh. Hi from Puerto Rico, welcome. From West Virginia. So we'll just finish up this roll, and then Add all of those pieces and then cut into our second roll. Hi from North Carolina. A lot of different states tonight, you guys. That's awesome. So this blade, as you guys may recall from the last 35 videos, it's the same blade. I haven't changed it out yet. It still cuts, just needs a little bit more pressure. So they do really last a long, long time. I think I've had that blade in it for over a year now. Hi from New York. Welcome. So my sister's actually in New York City right now. Her bus just arrived. She sent me a picture of Carlo's Bakery, which I heard was in Hoboken, New Jersey, but she's in Manhattan right now, and there was a store. My brother was there yesterday. My sister's there for work today. And I'm jealous. How many yards of mesh do we need? Each one of these rolls is 10 yards, so I figure anywhere from 18 to 25, depending on how long you cut them. So we finished one roll, and we got a lot of coverage, so I think it's going to take less than 2 full rolls. Maybe 1.5. Did she see Buddy? No, she didn't. But the cool thing about designing a wreath like this is that the sky is the limit. You could use any color combination. Great project for kids, obviously without the rotary cutter. You could give them little scissors, little kid-safe scissors, or you could have the mesh pre-cut for them. And maybe have all the ribbon strips or deco mesh tubing cut, and they could just use the pipe cleaners. But a very simple project. I definitely think young kids could do something like this, as long as there's no blade involved. Alright, so I cut like 15 more pieces. We might have to cut just a couple more. Ooh, 1100, awesome. Are you still going to floral design school? Excuse me. So I actually finished that program. What an experience that was. I loved it. And as many of you guys know, my sister was one street away in school. My sister is such a city girl, and I'm such a country boy. But I loved being in the city during the day and then coming home at night. But being in the city is definitely an experience everybody should try at one point. I mean, not necessarily Boston, even though I think we have one of the best cities in the world. but any city. Yep, I'd say about 6 to 8 inches. $54 pieces of mesh, name of business and location. So I am based out of Raleigh, Massachusetts, and my business is Nick's Seasonal Decor. Where's the mesh? Here it is. All right, so 6 more pieces, but 54 in total. So as you can see, some are longer, some are shorter. Now that I know I have enough, we don't have to worry too much. Where do you get your rotary cutter from? So I do have a list of all of my recommended materials on my website, nickseasonaldecor.com, under blog posts if you're interested in seeing the stuff I use and recommend. Excuse me. Okay. We are done with the mesh. So this is how it looks. Obviously, if we used white or pink pipe cleaners, you wouldn't see it. But even though this is an inexpensive design, I always like to remove the pipe cleaners simply because I don't like the look of them. But if we were working on a work wreath that we purchased with the tinsel ties, I like leaving those on. I think it just adds to the aesthetic. But what I'm doing now is I'm just twisting them a couple more times to make sure that they're secure and that they're not going to go anywhere. And then we'll snip them off. Okay, so never use your scissors to snip off wire or pipe cleaners. Always use your wire cutters. So we snipped them at least 4 or 5 times. Okay. So give me some hearts if you think that's cute so far. Obviously, I would have used either a wire or pink pipe cleaner so you couldn't see it. But often people put these in every window on the outside for holidays. You know, you could do red and green for Christmas, red, white, and blue for the 4th of July. You know, all sorts of colors. Green for St. Patrick's Day. This would work for multiple seasons and holidays. But now it's time to have some fun and add some florals. We're going to start with some of our tulips. And to add these, we'll just snip them off. We'll kind of pull up the flowers a little bit. We don't need the full stems. Ooh, lots of hearts. Yeah, very simple, you guys. So we'll get some more tulips. Nope, Carol, so this is actually so inexpensive. This is one of the most inexpensive designs I've created to date. You can create something like this less than $10. So it's very budget friendly. So we'll add what we have so far, and we'll go from there. So to attach these, what I'm using is my hot glue skillet. Unfortunately, it's off camera, but I also have it listed on my website under the blog posts for recommended materials. I believe it's still there. But it's essentially what it is just a giant plug-in fry pan. But we place glue in it, and a lot of people ask if you still can cook out of it, or what do you do with the glue once you're done. So it's actually just for the purpose of hot glue. I wouldn't be I wouldn't be eating out of it after. And what happens to the leftover glue is it just hardens. Think of like a glue stick. It just hardens, and then when you go to reheat the skillet, it melts again. Thank you. So very simple. Obviously nothing too extravagant, but let me know if you guys have any intention on making a simple wreath like this. This would also be a great centerpiece. You could put a hurricane vase in it and use it as a centerpiece. So I'm just adding these at random. But for those of you that are interested in learning more detailed tutorials like the pictures I post on the page and little snippets, that is within the exclusive wreath community. And if you're interested in that, right now the pricing is $15 for 8 videos a month. Plus you get a material list for every video, which includes everything that we use in the wreath. And I make it nice and easy for the members. So if I'm able to find a direct link online of the exact product we used, I post that link so they can just, do a one-stop shop. And you can find that at nickseasonaldecor.com. Doesn't the flowers fall off? So the amount of glue I'm adding is a pretty good amount for such lightweight flowers. So it doesn't fall off. I know, I'm so ready for spring too. Thank you, Tammy. But how simple was that, you guys? I don't know how long we've been on this, but I don't think any more than a half hour. And that's taking our time. Even though some of us would have liked us to go a little bit faster. Sometimes it's nice to sit back, relax, make something very simple. And it's always nice to chat with such lovely followers that I have. Can you show us exactly where you're placing the flowers? So what I'm doing is I'm just taking them. That's a great question, actually. It just reminded me of something. I'm taking them and I'm just kind of making sure that they're nestled in the mesh and that there's good contact between the glue, the stem of the tulips, and the mesh itself. As long as there's good contact and you have a pretty good amount of hot glue, these flowers are so lightweight that they're really not going to go anywhere. I've never had issues with my customers saying that the hot glue melted. I think I just use a lot of hot glue, maybe that's why. But also take note of how I place these flowers going in the same direction. For those of you that are a group member of Nick's Exclusive Wreath community, you guys know I repeat that a million times every month, talking about making sure all of your flowers are going the same direction. For those of you that followed me during Christmas time, I also make fresh Christmas greeneries, fresh Christmas wreaths, all that type of stuff. And I always make sure that my greenery is facing in the same direction. And this is a simpler twist on the typical tulip wreath you see. You know, those often take, I don't know, 12, 13 bunches of tulips, maybe less, maybe more, not sure. Whereas this only took 2.5, took about 2. And as you can see, when I pulled them out of my tub, half the flowers fell on the floor. So some of these tulips are missing flowers, which I'll go back and add later, which will kind of bulk it up. But very simple, very elegant, and very, very inexpensive. Again, let's go over pricing. $1 for the wreath, figure 20 cents for the pipe cleaners. So you're looking at, let's say $2. Let's round it off, $2. $5 worth of mesh. We still have about 3/4 a roll, if not more. And then figure $3 worth of tulips. We're looking at still less than $10 for a wreath like this. All right, everybody. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. Give me a comment. I appreciate hearing your feedback. And I always love seeing you guys comment and stuff. And if you do decide to create a wreath like this, please post pictures either in the comment section or on the page itself. I always appreciate you guys watching, and I truly love you guys. You guys really mean the world to me. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you all some point before the week's end, and we will create a pretty elegant, rather expensive grapevine wreath. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great night.